Mind-blowing shower thoughts that broke the internet. Have you ever wondered how many alarm clocks go off at the same time every morning? If you are waiting for the waiter at a restaurant, are you not the waiter? A baby born in a vehicle is the only type of person who exit vehicles more often than they enter. Every mirror you buy is in used condition. Baby butterflies do not exist. Water is just a portal to a universe where you can fly but you can't breathe. We spend the first half of our lives trying to look older and the second half trying to look younger. The word quiet is often said very loud. We do not technically choose friends, we just accidentally stumble upon them in life. An ice cube isn't just cold, it steals your warmth to turn back into water. Mirrors don't really break, they just multiply. If you're immortal, you could eventually master every skill, from painting to playing the violin. Humans are the only species that pay to live on the planet. The rise of self-checkouts has improved condom usage rates. Winter is the only season you experience twice a year. When you clean a vacuum cleaner, you become the vacuum cleaner. Imagine if someone handed you a box full of all the items you have lost throughout your life. Firefly is the opposite of waterfall. Being tired from staying up too late and being tired from waking up too early are two different feelings. In the future, there will be a last human born, but none of us will know it. Every hollow chocolate bunny is carrying a pocket of air from somewhere else in the world. We're lucky blinking doesn't make a noise. Salt is the only rock that is socially acceptable to eat. Putting ice cream in your grocery cart, immediately start a timer on your shopping trip. Drinking a lot of water before you nap can serve as a natural alarm clock. If no customer complains about a bulletproof vest, it's either really good or really bad. Water is really what a rainbow tastes like. You can remember that you forget something, but cannot remember what you forgot. Your stomach thinks all potatoes are mashed. The graveyard probably the least place to be haunted, because, logically, none of the buried people died there. Your cut fingernails are still out there somewhere. If you eat something with a chocolate filling, you become the thing with a chocolate filling. If you were cloned, your clone would just be a new person with your DNA. There are more numbers than there are things to count. A successful movie can make any random location a tourist attraction. Every broken clock is telling us when it passed away. Life is like a video game, you start with no instructions and learn as you go. If we never talked to strangers, we would never have friends. Water is never truly yours, it's just your turn to drink it. Most people are made in a bed, born in a bed and die in a bed. If magic was real, it would just be a branch of science. If mirrors showed your true self, would you be able to recognize yourself? We can see further at night than day, example the stars. The hospital you were born in is the only place you leave without entering. If you could see all the what if in your life, you'd be overwhelmed by the possibilities. You were once the youngest person in the world. How do we all have different handwriting, if we all learn from the same letters? A marriage is not truly successful until someone dies. How did the person that created the first ruler know how long an inch was? We trust the alarm clock to wake us up, but we never fully trust it to be accurate. Reading a book is looking at a dead tree and hallucinating. We'll never get to see how far humanity goes, cause we join a game halfway and left before it end. If a liar tells you they are they lying or telling the truth? More interesting videos is coming soon. Make sure to subscribe and like if you haven't already. Fire trucks are truly water trucks. The sinking of the Titanic must have been a miracle to the lobster in the kitchen. Every time you enter a room, you become part of its history. Your future self is talking crap about you. How come a fat pet is a sign of neglect but a fat animal in the wild is a sign of success? A group of squid should be called a squad. The security of every level of the airport is high until you get to baggage claim. There are an infinite number of numbers between 0 and 1. If tomb is pronounced tomb and womb is pronounced womb, then why isn't bomb pronounced boom? Technically, planet Earth is a wet rock that has been sitting out so long. You can replicate the feeling of falling from high altitudes in a nightmare. Your future self is watching you right now through memories. Wire delivery on a ship called cargo, but in a car, it's called a shipment. When you have two choices and you lose one, then you have no choices. If one teacher cannot teach all subjects, why is one child expected to study all subjects? Even when staring deeply into a mirror, you never see yourself blink. Your pets probably think that you leave every day to go on hunting for food. What happened to the car if you press the brake and the accelerator at the same time? Does it take a screenshot? The internet was made without the internet. How can people say life is short if it's the longest thing you will ever do? The youngest picture of you is also the oldest picture of you. Your bed is a time machine. When you sleep, you wake up in the future. If we have watermelon, shouldn't we also have fire melon, earth melon, and air melon? Why do pizza come in a square box, made in a circle and eat as a triangle? If I weigh 99 pounds and eat a pound of chips, am I 1% of chip? Some history books in the future will have screenshots of important tweets that happened during our lifetime. You are not stuck in traffic, you are traffic. If I drop soap on the floor, is the floor clean or is the soap dirty? An octopus is just a wet spider. Why do people say tuna fish when they don't say beef mammal or chicken bird? The Japanese flag could actually be a pie chart of how much of Japan is Japan. The object of golf is to play the least amount of golf. Using solar panels to power an air conditioning unit is like using the sun's power against itself. Dogs probably destroy shoes because they see humans put them on before they leave the house. If life were a video game, I wonder what kind of stats we would have. In normal English, execute and kill are synonyms, but on a computer, they're antonyms. Whenever you dig up dirt or a rock, that could be the first time it has seen the sun in millions of years. Which orange came first, the color or the fruit? Condoms are made for humans to prevent humans. You cannot touch your palm to your shoulder. I never realize how explicit my music is, until my parents hear it in the car. If you were born deaf, what language would you think in? There's no reason the alphabet need to be in order. When jogging, we put on special clothes so people don't think we are running from or to something. If you get out of the shower clean, how does your towel get dirty? The concept of a bedtime story is probably more for the parents than the children. Surgery is hurting someone to make them heal faster. You've experienced the last day of your life, but you just don't know it yet. When you drink alcohol, the alcohol is getting drunk too. The snooze button on your alarm clock is like a try again button for the day. The voice in your head never need to take a breath. You can always see your nose, but your brain ignores it. If your brain were a computer, your dreams would be the screensaver. Nothing is on fire, fire is on things. It's impossible to stand on stairs backwards. Baby products never truly get fair reviews by the users. The first thing Thomas Edison must have wondered after inventing the light bulb was where all these moths were coming from. If you could see air, fog would be considered a cloud. You would think the drops of water falling from 25,000 feet up would hurt more. Scissors only come together for a reason, to divide. The blinks of your eyes get removed from your memory. If laughter is the best medicine, why do we say, "I died laughing"? People who need glasses just got bad graphics. People are more angry when you almost cause an accident than if you really do cause one. Turning up the volume is like zooming in, but with sounds. Your town knows exactly how everything you look will feel. When you close both eyes, you see black, but when you close one, you see nothing. Your sibling are just alternate versions of what could have been you. Do twins ever realize that one of them was unplanned? Once you have learned a language, you can't hear it without understanding it ever again. Most video games prevent you from sleeping when danger is nearby. Isn't it strange? We have a little voice in our head, like the one you're using to read this. If a cashier remembers you, you're either terrible or amazing. One day, everyone in a group chat will pass away, and it will sit there in silence for all eternity. If everyone blinked in sync, nobody would know that other people blinked. If you wear glasses, you're basically using cheat codes for real life. The scream in your head will never be out of breath. Being scared to check your bank account is the adult version of being scared to check your grades. What if rocks are soft and tense up when we touch them? We technically have 2 minutes to live, but every time we breathe, we reset the timer. You're the main character in your own story, but you're also just an extra in everyone else's. A vending machine is like a slot machine for snacks. Your whole life is spent gathering people for your funeral. If you could see Wi-Fi signals, the air would be filled with invisible light. You cannot experience your own death because you wouldn't be there to witness it. Your car keys have traveled farther than your car. Nobody knows how anyone actually feels or thinks. Someone under 25 buying a money counting machine is very suspicious. We live in a world where people don't want to see ads and are willing to pay to not see them. How do blind people know when to stop wiping? At age 25, if a friend tells me they're pregnant, I don't know whether to say "oh shit" or "congratulations." Most of the sky is actually below your feet. Cemeteries would be way more interesting if they put the cause of death on the headstone. If time is money, does that mean an ATM is a time machine? Do lions know that sharks exist? What if we can breathe in space, but they don't want us to escape? Is smelling your own fart puts that fart back inside you? When you clean a vacuum, do you become a vacuum cleaner? Believe it or not, someone was born at this very moment and someone lost his life at this very moment. Who knew the time when the first clock was made? If we can see water, but we cannot see air, can fish not see water but see air? If dinosaurs lived before us, then how do we know that they roared? If Cinderella's shoe fit perfectly, then how did it fall off? When you go to sleep at 4 a.m., is it going to bed early or late? If the camera lens is a circle, how come the picture comes out as a square? If cats had wings, they would still just lay there. Do you realize that you mostly use driver's license to buy stuff that impairs your ability to drive? If tomatoes are fruit, isn't ketchup a smoothie? I recognize clickbait almost every time, but still want to know what that child celebrity looks like today. There is literally no way to prove if we see the same colors. Your chances of dying right now is either 0% or 100%. It's crazy how water can drown you, freeze you, burn you, and even cut you. Yet, you still need it to live. Is there a destiny, or is it all just a coincidence? If Adam and Eve were the first people on this earth, and they're both white, how did we get to black? 1984 to 2000 seems a very long time compared to 2000 to 2016. If the foods I eat make me poop, and the water I drink make me pee, does the air I breathe make me fart? You cannot smell fire, you can smell only the thing it burns. The dentists make money from bad teeth. Why do we use the toothpaste that they recommend? If you could see the wind, we'd probably pay more attention to it. You normally blink and breathe on autopilot, but now since I mentioned it, you are doing it manually. When you're swimming underwater, you're technically flying in a denser atmosphere. Dora, the Explorer, and Internet Explorer take the same amount of time to process simple explanation. The most important meal of the day is the one you eat when you're feeling super hungry. Every time you make a decision, you create an alternate universe where the other choice was made. If you're the youngest in the family, you'll most likely be at everyone's funeral. You have to pretend to sleep to fall asleep. You have probably seen strangers on the last day of their life. Your alarm sound is technically your theme song since it plays at the start of every episode. If your pet could talk, they'd probably have a lot of questions about your behavior. Clapping is just hitting yourself repeatedly because you like something. Have you ever felt bugs on you when there are no bugs? They're probably the ghost of the bugs you have killed. If life is unfair to everyone, does that mean life is actually fair? If you could taste words, sweet dreams would be the most comforting flavor. If Earth is the third planet from the sun, doesn't that mean every country is a third world country? Every time you blink, you're essentially taking a tiny nap for your eyes. Lawyers hope you get sued. Doctors hope you get sick. Mechanic hope you have a car trouble. Cops hope you a criminal, but only a thief wishes you prosperity. I'm glad dogs can't read the no dogs allowed signs so they don't feel sad and left out. Do you know, sleep is like a time machine to breakfast. You walked past the best day of your life without even knowing it. They said the asteroid killed all the dinosaurs. You could also said it killed many birds with one stone. When you say forwards or backwards, your lips move in that direction. Your favorite song is probably someone else's most annoying earworm. Do you realize that history classes are only going to get longer and more difficult as time goes on? The first person to drink cow's milk probably did it out of some serious curiosity. Technically, you've spent your entire life preparing for this very moment. Why is there a D in fridge but not in refrigerator? Every book you have read is just a remix of the dictionary. 99% of what your body does, it does itself. Your body actually trusts you very little. Silence is the most underrated sound in the world. If you stab a cereal box, are you a serial killer? Someone who says I'll be there in 6 minutes will normally arrive before someone who says I will be there in 5 minutes. You can't remember being born, but you were there. Taxes are just a yearly subscription to the country that you live in, while childhood is the free trial. If swimming is good for your shape, then why do the whales look the way they do? If a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, it still makes a sound. If your parents always told you not to take candy from strangers, then what is Halloween? Your eraser slowly dies because of your mistakes. The smell of freshly baked bread is like a warm hug for your nose. The number of people older than you will never increase. If your shirt isn't tucked into your pants, is your pants tucked into your shirts? You're as old as you've ever been, but also as young as you'll ever be. If you are invisible and you close your eyes, can you see through your eyelids? Your future self is the result of all the decisions you make in the present. When we yawn, do the deaf people think we're screaming? My dog understands several human words. I don't understand any dog barks. He may be smarter than me. The only time success comes before work is in the dictionary. If you work as security at a Samsung store, does that make you the guardian of the galaxy? One day you will hear your name for the last time and never know it. If you could speak every language in the world fluently, would you still be yourself? Even though Uber drivers drive around in a car all day, they still gotta walk to work. When you close your eyes, you're essentially watching the movie of your imagination. If you're over 30 years old, you are older than every cat and dog in the entire world. Is it called sand? Because it's between the sea and the land. If you could see the future, you might spend your life trying to change it. If you don't pay taxes, you get sent to a place where you don't have to pay taxes. In a world where everyone can fly, walking would be the extraordinary feat. Hospital are the only places that have emergency entrance and exit. If you were immortal, would you eventually run out of things to do? Wearing contacts instead of glasses is just switching to full screen mode. If life had a skip intro button, what moments would you skip? If jellyfish and cucumber are 95% water, there's a 5% difference between a cucumber and a jellyfish. The more we learn, the more questions we have. The reason why locksmiths are so expensive is because it has to be more profitable than the burglary. If you rip a hole in a net, there are actually fewer holes in it than before. People who believe Earth is flat never tell us what it looks like on the other side. How are you gonna feel the pain in your leg if your leg is gone? Cats sleep so often that every meal they eat is breakfast. What if a fly loses its wings? Is it now called a walk? You will only be able to clean 16% of your body no matter how often you shower. If you sweat in a sweater, does that make you the sweater? How come your lips don't touch when you say touch but they do when you say separate? There was no grape-flavored ice cream. You have probably passed someone you are gonna meet in the future. It's kind of weird that humans are the only species that drink milk from other animals. I wonder why you cannot sneeze with your eye open. If you had $1 billion and spent $1,000 every day, it would take 50 years to spend it all. There would not be any billionaires if billionaires behaved like people wanted. Somebody in somewhere has probably tried to eat tacos with chopsticks. We are pretty lucky that sleep is still free after the amount of monetization in society. When a starving predator is chasing for its prey, they are both running for their lives. Technically, human could have done whatever they wanted, but then people created money. Why aren't corpses put in cemeteries vertically to save spaces? Most boats travel faster on the trailer than they ever do in the water. Technically, you're the oldest you've ever been right now. When humanity invents something new, they unknowingly create new ways to die as well. Hamburger doesn't have a front or back until you bite it. You don't decide to be born or when you die, but you are forced to make every decision in between. Your eyeball will probably never touch another eyeball. I wondered if the reason dogs always follow us to the toilet is because we follow them when they go and think that's just how it works. What if oxygen is poisonous and takes 75 to 100 years to kill us? If you watch a whole series without pausing between episodes, you are technically watching a long movie. If you try to fail but end up succeeding, which did you actually do? Why are they called apartment if they're all stuck together? Gravity is always trying to pull your pants down. You can often tell when a dream ends, but never when it starts. When you hate haters, doesn't that make you a hater? Christmas feels more like a deadline than a holiday. When we catch fish, do they think they are being abducted by aliens? The only thing that bottled water company truly produces plastic. Being born a billionaire is like starting a game, already completed with everything unlocked. Do ghosts give us privacy in the shower? When someone asks you which way to the beach, you can literally point in any direction and be correct. If you live to be 70 years old, you will spend 10 years of your life on the day Monday. First person to ever die has the longest record of not moving. Being healthy is just the slowest possibly way of dying. Somewhere in the world, there is somebody with your dream job that hates going to work every day. Dying of old age is like dying of not dying. Tobacco companies kill their best customers and condom companies kill their future customers. Your skull doesn't have a facial expression, your flesh just moves around it. You can throw a rock into a lake and be the last person to touch the rock. At some point, the tallest person has experienced being the exact height of every other person in the world. It's 2023, I've still never seen a toaster with a countdown. Wedding rings are technically the do not disturb sign for the dating world. I've woken up over 10,000 times and I'm still not used to it. If laughter is the best medicine, then comedians are the world's most underpaid pharmacists. You might have done something today that changed your entire future. If I get up 10 minutes earlier than usual, I treat it like 2 extra hours and end up late for work. Humans are really bad at recharging. It takes about 8 hours charge for 16 hours of use. Millionaires get paid millions of dollars to act poorly in the movies. If my calculator had a history, it would be more embarrassing than my browser history. When you clean something, you are just making room for the dust which will come tomorrow. We aren't scared of the dark, we are scared of what's in the dark. Randomly hearing your favorite song on the radio is more satisfying than playing it directly from your gadget. You only have one birthday, the rest are congratulations for surviving each year. As a kid, parents told us not to believe everything we see on TV, now we have to teach them to not believe everything they see on Facebook. Aliens invaded the moon on July 20th, 1969. Gyms should have memberships where your fee goes down based on how often you go. A ton of people is literally 12 to 15 people. As a kid, 99.9% of the times I cried was due to physical pain. As an adult, 99.9% of the times I have cried was due to emotional pain. Scientists are adult kids who stuck in the Y phase. How come we verify that we are not robots? To robots? Searching for a new laptop online is basically forcing your current computer to dig its own grave. Your first birthday is technically second, if you think about it. Why do pets get to walk around the house naked? An idiot who realized they're an idiot is no longer an idiot. Gravestone will probably have QR code on them in the future that share the life story of whoever buried there. Do animals think we are aliens because we don't look like them? How come telling someone to have a good day is positive, but telling someone to have a good life is negative? As you breathe now, another person takes their last. Someone's mom could be using you as a bad example for their kids. When we're young, we sneak out to go to parties. When we're old, we sneak out of parties to go home. Why are prisoners given food and water but homeless people are not? What if you passed a missing person, and you didn't know she was missing? Sometimes, words just aren't enough. That's why we have middle fingers. You see people every single day that you'll never see again. When you think about anything long enough, it gets weird and make no sense. Cars are never supposed to touch anything other than the road. Someone has probably laughed at you for picking your nose in traffic. All superheroes are villains if you're a construction worker. You are friends with someone if you can sit next to them without saying a word and not feel awkward. If you won the lottery, you'd still look both ways before crossing the street. Barber knows the back of your head better than yourself. The only 2 days in your life that don't last 24 hours are the day you're born and the day that you die. It's absolutely absurd that the center of a dartboard isn't the highest value. Somewhere in the world lies a rock which has never been touched by the living creature. Why do we press start to turn off the computer? Nothing lasts longer than that video someone showing you that you have no interest. Has anyone ever died of laughter? World's truly richest people are probably rich enough to not be known as the richest. The sun you see every day is the same sun all living thing has seen. All digital art is pixel art if you zoom in. How come you never see a clown driving in traffic yet clowns always show up to parties? Mosquitoes are like the ultimate ninja assassins. They bite you and disappear into thin air. When you're alone in a room, you're the only person in the world who can see what you can. In the movie, dogs are technically unpaid actor. Money cannot buy you happiness, but it can buy you serotonin, which makes you happier. Do different species of animals communicate with each other, or they need a translator? People cover their laptop cameras for fear of hackers, but never their phone cameras. Folding laundry counts as a date if you like each other enough. Why do they call it a building when it's already been built? Shouldn't it be called a built? Only one sock goes missing, because if both did, you wouldn't notice. If God created the world, who created God? How come people talk about starting a family, but never talk about finishing one? If we could eat air, dieting would be a lot more complicated. When you travel, people seem more friendlier because you're more open to conversation with strangers. One of the advantages of being tall is the fact that you can fold large blankets easily. What if I told you, first you learn to read, then you read to learn? Someone probably dreamt about you last night and you have no idea. It's not fair that bears look so cute, but will also tear you to shred. If Q is removed from the alphabet, nobody would be able to make barbecue sauce. Have you ever wondered what your dog named you? Why do bad guys always win the girl during movies, and good guys don't until after? You've never seen the whole movie, because you're blinking. Why do we press harder on the remote control when we know the batteries are weak? Dogs have a super powerful sense of smell, but they don't seem to care about our farts somehow. How come you cannot get in a store and buy clothes if you don't already own clothes? Why do they call it fast food when you often have to wait in line for it? Before the camera was invented, no one had seen themselves with their eyes closed. Did you know we could be in backgrounds of people's favorite photos? You'll never know how many people are thinking of you right now. If you're watching the sunrise, someone on the opposite side of the earth is watching the sunset. Does a straw have one hole or two? If a word is misspelled in vocabulary, how will we know? Do soulmates exist? And if so, are there more than one? Turtles can never have sleepovers because they always sleep at home. If ghosts can walk through walls, why do they bother with doors? Somebody owns the sharpest knife in existence and probably doesn't even know it. Why do we call it a smartphone when we're the ones doing all the work? Why do we call it falling asleep when we're actually lying down? Is it possible to know everything, or is there always something left unknown? Before revealing the last thoughts, like and subscribe. How come if you drive an old car, you are poor, but if you drive a really old car, then you are rich?